Have you ever walked into your child's house and suddenly felt like you didn't belong there? You raised them. You carried them through fevers, school fees, heartbreaks, hunger, and somehow, now that the wrinkles have deepened and your steps have slowed, you're met with half-hearted smiles, distracted glances, and rooms that fall silent when you enter. No more "Mummy, sit here," or "Dad, how was your day?" Instead, you're offered a seat like a guest, if you're offered one at all. You came to see your grandchildren, but they barely look up from their screens. You tried to offer advice, but it was brushed off with "the times have changed." And when you stayed a little longer than they expected, you could feel it, that cold shift in the air. As if your presence had become a problem they couldn't wait to solve. They say, "Come visit us anytime," but the tone in their voice says something else. You start to wonder. Was I wrong to come? Am I overstaying my welcome? Am I a burden? It's a feeling too many seniors have, quietly. Alone. And they don't talk about it because the shame runs deep. But here's the truth, you are not alone. And no, you're not imagining it. As we get older, we crave something simple: peace, love, respect. We want to feel valued, not tolerated. We want to sit in a room with our children and feel warmth, not judgment. But what happens when the very people you raised start to treat you like a responsibility, instead of a relationship? By the end of this video, you'll learn the 5 subtle but powerful signs your grown children may be disrespecting you without even realizing it, and what you can do to protect your peace, your joy, and your dignity without breaking family ties. Because here's the truth, getting older doesn't mean surrendering your self-worth. It means owning it. With quiet strength. So I invite you, right now, to take a breath and stay with me. If you've ever felt the sting of being overlooked, dismissed, or treated like a shadow in your own family, this is your space. This is your voice. Backhand index pointing right. Go ahead and comment "I still deserve respect" if you believe that seniors like you should be cherished, not ignored. Backhand index pointing right. And if you're tired of feeling alone in this journey, subscribe to Seniors Care, where every week, we shine a light on what truly matters in your golden years: love, respect, freedom, and the right to age with grace. Let's talk. Let's begin. Let's talk about something that happens far too often, something that chips away at your sense of self, not all at once, but little by little. You're treated like a child. Not an elder. You share your wisdom, decades of experience, and what do you get? A polite nod, a smile that doesn't reach their eyes, or worse, that familiar silence, thick with dismissal. You suggest how they could handle the kids better, how to manage the home more efficiently, or how to deal with that health issue they keep ignoring. But it's like speaking into thin air. They think you're being old-fashioned. Out of touch. They assume age has clouded your clarity. But let's set the record straight, growing older doesn't erase your mind. You're not confused, you're being ignored. And that's not care. That's control, wrapped in condescension. They say things like, "Don't worry about it, Mom," or "Just relax, Dad, we've got this." But the truth is, they're not protecting you. They're patronizing you. There's a difference. You don't need someone to manage your every step. What you need, what you've earned, is respect. So the next time you're shut down, gently but firmly say, "I've lived long enough to have a voice in this. I've earned that much." You don't need to shout to be heard, you just need to remind them who you are. But even worse than being treated like a child, is being completely invisible. You knock on the door. You're excited, you brought fruits, or snacks for the grandkids, or maybe just a warm smile for your child. But when the door opens, something shifts. They're polite, sure. But it's the kind of polite that feels mechanical. The hugs are quick. The conversation is thin. And beneath it all, you can feel it in your bones: they didn't want you here today. You weren't expected, you were endured. And suddenly, you're not dad or mama anymore. You're the visit. You're a task on their calendar. You might blame yourself. Maybe you picked the wrong time. Maybe you stayed too long. Maybe you asked for too much. But let me tell you something, this isn't about timing. It's about emotional presence. When love turns into obligation, it doesn't matter what time you arrive. It's not about you being late, it's about them being distant. And that hurts. Deeply. So what do you do? Don't keep showing up where your presence is barely tolerated. Start inviting them to your space, your home, your world. Where you feel safe. Where your time matters. And if they never come? You'll know where you truly stand. Sometimes, it's not what they say, it's what they don't say that cuts the deepest. They talk about buying a new house, planning for a family trip, or a big decision about your grandchild's future. You're right there in the room. But somehow, the words fly over your head, not because you can't understand them, but because they were never meant for you. They say, we didn't want to worry you. They say, it's complicated. They say, we've already made the decision. But the message is loud and clear, you no longer have a seat at the table. And that isolation doesn't happen overnight. It starts small. A skipped conversation. A decision made without asking. A moment of don't worry about it. And before you know it, you feel like a ghost in your own family. But here's the truth, you are still part of the story. Your opinion still counts. Your voice still matters. Speak up. Say it calmly, please include me. I'm still here. I still care. I deserve to know what's going on. Because silence isn't protection. It's rejection in disguise. And yet, some signs are even quieter. They don't come through words. They show up in the smallest things. How your health is handled. How your comfort is prioritized. Or not. Let's talk about that next. You ever mention something small, just in passing, like your back's been acting up again? Or you haven't had much of an appetite lately? And they nod, maybe murmur or you should get that checked. Then silence. No follow-up. No offer to help. Not even a glance to check how you're doing the next day. It's not that you expected a grand gesture. But maybe, just maybe, you hoped they'd care enough to ask again. That's how it starts. Subtle neglect. It doesn't always look like abandonment. Sometimes, it wears a smile. Sometimes, it hides behind busy schedules. But what it really is emotional detachment. They say, but you didn't ask for help. Or, you didn't make it sound serious. But here's what they don't understand, when you're older, even the little things can feel big. The discomfort you ignore today could be the crisis they face tomorrow. And yet, because you didn't scream or cry out, they assume you're fine. But pain doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just lingers. So what can you do? Start tracking it. Write it down. Not for them, but for you. Keep a little notebook, a care journal. Write what hurts. When it started. What you've tried. Then, when you do bring it up, you're not just asking for vague sympathy. You're showing them something real. And if they still don't care? That's not on you. That's a mirror they'll have to face one day. Because one day, they'll be the ones hoping someone cares enough to ask twice. But now, we come to something even deeper. Something that doesn't bruise the body, but bruises the heart. You call to check in, and they answer with a sigh. You ask when you can come visit, and they say, well, we'll see if we have time, or worse, they hit you with that line, you're lucky we even make time for you. And you stand there, phone in hand, heart in pieces. Not knowing whether to cry, or to stay quiet. So you swallow it. You tell yourself they're stressed. They're tired. They didn't mean it that way. Because the truth is, you don't want to lose them. So you endure it. Again. And again. Because you believe that's what love does, endures. But let me tell you something that might change your life, endurance is not always noble. Sometimes, it's a trap. You've spent your whole life giving. Now, they use that love as leverage. They know you won't walk away. They know you'll stay quiet to keep the peace. But peace that comes at the cost of your self-respect isn't peace at all. And no, setting boundaries doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you love yourself enough to say, I won't let anyone, no matter who they are, use guilt to control me. So start saying no. Start choosing your well-being, your rest, your joy. You're not a guilt magnet. You're not someone to be pitted or managed. You're a human being with needs, feelings, and worth. Don't let anyone, child or not, erase that. And now, the big question, how do you carry all of this, without falling into bitterness? Without losing your joy? Without closing your heart? Let's talk about that next. Feeling unwanted by your own children. It's not like a fever. It's not like a fall. It doesn't come with a warning. It creeps in, slow, quiet, and heavy. And when it lands, it doesn't just hurt. It shakes something deep inside you. It makes you question your value. Your role. It makes you wonder, did I do something wrong? Did I fail somewhere along the way? But let me tell you something plainly, you didn't fail. You poured your love into them. You gave your best. And even if you didn't get it all right, who does? You gave your life. And that means something. So no, this isn't about blame. This isn't about turning your heart cold or walking away from everyone you love. This is about boundaries. Healthy ones. Loving ones. Ones that say, I'm not here to be managed. I'm not here to be tolerated. I am still me. And I deserve to be treated with the same respect I once taught you to show others. You don't have to cut anyone off. But you do need to cut off access to your peace from people who keep poking holes in it. And sometimes, that includes your own children. So what do? Start with this, make a list today. Yes, today. Write down who uplifts you. Who listens. Who checks in, not just out of duty, but from a place of real love. Then write down the opposite. The people who drain you. The ones who leave you feeling small, unheard, or dismissed. And then, my friend, choose presence over pressure. Choose dignity over discomfort. Choose your peace, not just blood. Because getting older isn't a curse. It's a gift. And you're allowed to protect it. You don't have to beg for respect. You don't have to plead to be seen. You are not invisible. You matter. And if they won't make space for you, create it yourself. Invite people into your life who see your wisdom, your humor, your strength. Surround yourself with kindness. Even if it's just one person. Even if it's just yourself. Because sometimes, you don't need a full room. You just need a full heart. So let's go over the signs one last time, because they're easy to miss until they've already settled in. To recap, you're treated like a child. Your thoughts brushed aside. Your voice diminished. Your visits feel like a burden. Like your presence is tolerated, not embraced. You're excluded from important conversations. Decisions made behind your back, without your input. They ignore your well-being. Small pains, unasked questions, subtle neglect. And finally, they guilt you. Using your love to control your choices, your time, your peace. These signs are real. And they matter. And if any of them sound familiar to you, you are not alone. So let's talk. Let's share. Let's build a space where truth is welcome. Backhand index pointing right. Tell me in the comments, what's one moment you realized the dynamic with your child had shifted? When did things start to feel different? I'm listening, and so is this community. And if you found a little strength today, if something in this video helped you feel seen, please take a second to like it. It helps more than you know. And subscribe to Seniors Care if you want more honest, brave conversations like this one. This channel exists for you, for your stories, your strength, your voice. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you for choosing your heart. You deserve peace. You deserve dignity. You deserve a life that feels warm, not cold. So take care of that heart of yours. And remember, never shrink for anyone. I'll see you in the next one.